knowing what it feels like if somebody's trying to insult you or say something negative to you, you'll know what that feels like and how you can turn that around into a positive way of continuing the dialogue. So the point of all of this is once you go through it and you know what it feels like, then you can put it into practice.
Yeah, you know, one of the things that I do as a coach, and I think many other coaches do as well, and one of the things we got from our training is it's called perspectives. And what we do is if somebody is stuck, what they'll do is stand, and I make them stand anyway, stand in the perspective and really look at where are they stuck, what's the issue that they're stuck at. And then what I do is I ask them to move around, go to another perspective. And we name that perspective, whether maybe it's vanilla or beige or whatever it is. And then they can put on another persona and think about that perspective. Right. And then to another and another and another. And that it forces them to really look at different scenarios. Then they can make a choice and leave the stuck place behind.
Exactly.
So I don't know if you would call that some form of improv.
No, it is a form of improv.
But it works.
It
works
does.
very well.
It's a form of improv because it's making you respond to a new stimulus that wasn't there. In other words, it just popped up. How do you react to this? So it is a form of improv.
Right.
And along with that, I mean, one of the things that improv also does is, besides building your own individual sense of rapid thinking, it helps you also in terms of team building because there's some of the exercises involve 2, 3, 4, 5 people, and so it's a combination of looking at stuff, getting on the same page, feeding off one another, as well as reacting to stimulus that comes out of nowhere. So it's, I can give you, we can't do it because there's just one of me and one of you.
Know.
But for example.
I also want to hear about some of the other things you do before we leave tonight.
On television? Oh, okay.
Some of the volunteer work you do, which is so amazing and I think just touches my heart, actually.
Well, I can skip
whatever.
the improv, you know.
No?
I'll finish this quick.
Okay.
All right, I'll finish this quickly. One of the exercises in the workshop is called the TV interview, and there are 3 people from the class will come up at a time, and I am Oprah, I'm Dr. Phil, I'm whoever, I'm Jerry Springer. Thank you very much. Okay, and. The participants in the exercise are not allowed to discuss anything amongst themselves. The rest of the group will tell them why they are on my show.
Okay.
So they're coming in and they have no idea what they're about to walk into. So one of the coolest ones that I ever experienced was they were told they were the first team of astronauts to successfully make the 9-year round trip from Earth to Mars and back again. So bear in mind, they have no idea what they're walking into. Now they know that they have to be 3 astronauts. So they have to respond to that, and they have to, even if they know nothing about celestial mechanics or being an astronaut, they somehow have to fall into this role. So they have to, the brain has to start churning here. So I would start interviewing them, and I started interviewing, what was it like to be the commander? I just randomly picked somebody. And they would talk about a sense of responsibility, a sense of organization, a sense of making sure everything is running, which even though we're talking about an imaginary space trip, that's not all that far from an actual business scenario. Right. Okay. And then I said, and what was it like to be the navigator? And they said, yes. And my role was just as important because I could see they were beginning to feel left out because this was the commander. And that's where the yes and came in. Yes, and my role was very critical because if I didn't keep us on course, we'd be still floating out toward the Milky Way. which was good because now there's suddenly a team going on here. And then this is what was so amazing. I turned to the third person and I said, and what was it like for you being on this spaceship? And the person on the end was a woman. She sort of shrunk herself down. She said, you know, it really sucks being born on a spaceship and spending the first 9 years of my life here. So immediately, the whole discussion shifted. They were not just astronauts now, they were parents. And then the whole discussion changed from celestial mechanics, being a navigator, making sure fuel management, all this other sort of stuff, to
A 9-year-old.
to a 9-year-old. I said, and it would be really helpful if you would stop putting your markers all over the computer monitors because we could see better.
Great.
And it was really cool because the shift was enormous, but everybody found a way to make it work. And the analogy to that is that happens all the time in business when you're in meetings and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
You're not going to be that 9-year-old,
No.
but something of that
Absolutely.
magnitude can be tossed out as a curve, and then you have to be able to how you deal with that.
Right.
So by feeling that, that's how you can then react to it in the real world.
Well,
So-
that's interesting and probably good for everybody to know how you can turn something which could be a tug of war
Right.
within, and we all know this, within an organization or a team.
Power struggle, basically a power struggle, yes.
Right, within a team, to making everyone fit together and work together so
Yeah.
that it's a unity, not a power struggle.
That's right. That's right. And
Excellent.
stuff gets done that way. You'd be amazed at how much more gets done when you can use these tools to work together rather than trying to out-ego somebody else.
So a lot of good techniques here, and I just wanted to throw in, if you wanted to contact Charlie, his website is www.improvingwithimprov.com.
Well said.
Just wanted to get it in there. So tell us a little bit about what you do as a volunteer. That really struck me as interesting and kind of a little bit of a shift in some ways.
Well, it's a big shift. I am a big believer in giving back.
Yeah,
A
that's exactly
huge
right.
believer in giving back. In a sense that partially was why I switched into teaching this improv, because I like giving back
Right.
these skills to other people to help them function better. But in terms of giving back is often not writing a check.
Yes.
Because I could never write a check big enough to do what I really want to do in terms of helping other people.
Right.
But being an old rock and roller and being at Woodstock.
Another one of
right?
his many talents,
Yeah,
playing the
right.
guitar.
Yes, that's true. I do. I do play the guitar,
Yes.
and I even sing. This does start back at Woodstock. One of the MCs at Woodstock said something to the effect of, "Hey man, remember man, we got to keep feeding each other, man." And he meant that figuratively, not so literally, that we really all have to help each other if we're really going to make it. And I tried to keep that in the back of my head with everything that I do. And then a few years ago, I had the opportunity to start volunteering at 2 hospitals.
Yeah.
I volunteer at the Sloan Kettering, and I have my one-man traveling rock festival, and I play for the cancer patients. And it is just the most wonderful experience. I know that this may seem like an odd vision, but they're there with their IV poles, and everybody's rocking and singing along. And
How cool is
it's
that?
just, I think I get more out of it sometimes than
sure you
they
do.
do.
I'm sure you
And
do.
it's just the most rewarding and fun time that I could have musically. And I played for a long time there. I sometimes I play for almost 3 hours, not stop.
Really?
So Bruce Springsteen's got nothing on me because he's got other people taking solos. I'm going right through all by my lonesome
3
self.
hours.
Yeah.
And do the people sit there and are they mesmerized and
Man, I wouldn't say they're mesmerized. I don't think anybody would be mesmerized by my singing. But a lot of them hang
No.
in there, and then if not, there's a constant flow of patients. That's another reason I'm there, because the patient flow does change, and I don't want to leave some people not hearing any
Right.
music, and so I keep that on. And I do the same thing at the lockdown psych ward at another hospital, which is a whole another trip. But that is equally important because the music gets through even the toughest of mental conditions, and that is very rewarding in its own way. And it's very different. It's very different, and you sometimes wonder which is a more difficult situation to live with, mental illness or having cancer. I know this is a real down thought, but it's very difficult. But the music helps everybody.
Wow. So when you go to the Sloan Kettering, do you find that the patients sing along and they really
all the time.
are engaged
They
in
love
what
they
you
do. They get up. Some of them actually get up and dance with other people and their IV poles.
And their IV. They dance with their IV poles.
Yep. They love. I tell you some of the. I mean, they like songs like.
So what's a favorite?
They have a couple of favorites. They like the Beatles stuff I do. They love Hey Jude because everybody likes to sing the na-nas at the end. They love the Dobie Gray song Drift Away, which was his only hit. Hey, give me the Beat Boys to free my soul, like the lost in your rock and roll. No, I'm not singing this time.
Could.
I could, but I won't.
Maybe we'll end with a few notes.
I don't think that's
something
not a chance. There's not a chance of that happening. But Proud Mary's another one. And in fact, sometimes they start doing the Tina Turner thing in their seats there, which is really cool.
Okay.
So there's that. And I have one very, very touching story that happened at Sloan Kettering. I was playing one patient. One time I was playing for one patient. He looked vaguely familiar. I couldn't quite figure out. I couldn't quite place him. But when you're that sick, and a lot of people there are very sick. Some people are not. Some people are more. This man was very sick, and it was hard to tell. And so I'm playing, we're having a good time, and he asked me, do I get paid for this? And I laughed. I said, nobody is ever going to pay to hear me sing. I do this I just do this to volunteer because I just like doing this. And we're having a good time. He's singing along a little bit. And then I said, what do you do? And he said, I play a little keyboard. And I said, that's very cool. And then I went into, I don't know how many of you are Springsteen fans, but I went into Jersey Girl by Bruce Springsteen. And I did it. He's just laughing. I've never seen anybody laugh so hard in a wheelchair and an IV pole in my life. And he said, man, you do it better than he does. And then we sort of said goodbye, and he went off, and I went off. And a couple weeks later, my wife, who is a huge Springsteen fan, calls me in to look at the homepage on his website. And it said, in memoriam for Danny Federici, our keyboard player for 40 years, passed away last night at Sloan Kettering from whatever. And it was and then I realized as soon as I saw the picture, that's who I was playing for.
Wow. We're going to have to wrap up in a minute or two. I know this has gone really quickly. And I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I wanted.
Well, you did because we have to end.
I don't want to end with your mouth hanging out.
Wouldn't be the first time.
Okay, but I really want to thank you for coming and being my guest. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you. It's a lot of fun.
Thank you so much for having me on.
You're very welcome.
And it's improvingwithimprov.com. One more plug.
Absolutely. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.